Yeah.
All right. Let's check that we're live. Okay. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. We are here every Tuesday night at 7:30. My name's Jasmine. This is Stephanie. We're both sisters and we're part of AO1fitness.com. And every Tuesday, we love to jump on here on our Facebook page live and do what we call AO1 Conversations. And every week we have a different topic. All of the topics are ones that we believe help all of us live life well. So last week we talked about goals, how to achieve our goals. So we took, everyone had a different dream, like a very large dream. We narrowed it down to make it into a long-term goal. And then we showed you how to break that down into achievable steps. And within those steps, we even broke it down into really small, actionable steps that you could take today, which we're going to talk even more about next week because most of those steps are going to become habits. But today, we want to add in a bit of a secret sauce, I guess, because just saying we have to do a habit, most of us kind of fall off the bandwagon. So today we want to bring in some strategy specifically about our environment. So we want to talk about how do we set up our environment so that we can be successful at our goals and ultimately our long-term dreams. So today, Stef is going to be sharing most of that today. Before we jump in, we would love to have this as a conversation. Again, we're live on Facebook. So if you're in the audience, just let us know that you're here. And throughout the conversation, we'd really love to hear what are some specific habits that you want to start implementing. Maybe you've just started or you've been doing it for a while or you haven't yet started and you want to start and be successful at it. So let us know so that we can use that information to specifically help with this conversation and then it can be as fruitful as possible. So Steph, why don't you start? You've been telling me just off camera a little bit about a very large project that you've been doing at your house. And I know that will relate to tonight's topic. So why don't you just start with sharing that?
Okay. So yeah, I've been wanting to do this topic for the past couple of weeks because it was probably 5 weeks ago that I got introduced to the resource of Marie Kondo's books, which you may have heard. She kind of like got very famous about 5 years ago with her books. I'm a little late to the game and I just got them now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that with the extra time being at home, that's kind of been the project that I have dove into. And so I'm hoping if anyone else is in a similar situation, you do have some extra time and you are home more often, then this could be something that could be really beneficial for you in your overall environment. So I want to give this resource, kind of give an intro about it, and then we'll kind of get more specific at the end. We'll talk specifically about setting up the environment for a nutrition goal, for a fitness goal. So this first resource is more for just overall life, what space you occupy the most often. So for a lot of people, it's home, but for a lot of other people, it's your workspace, your office, wherever you are. So you can take these same principles and apply it to different spaces, but I'll just speak on my experience for doing this process at home. Okay, yeah. So do you have a question to start, Jazz, or do you want me to just give like the overview of what did she talk about in her book?
Yeah, why don't you jump into that and then just also your personal experience, because I know you've really been diving into that and I assume you're doing that because you're at home, so that's where you're spending most of your space, but now you're also transitioning to being at your other office, which is your gym. So I'm wondering if you're going to apply that over there too. But yeah, just start with the overall process because I'm very new at this. I've never read her book. I know it's also on Netflix, but I haven't watched it. I just know the name. So I'm curious to hear about it too.
Yeah, I'm curious if anyone in the comments has seen the Netflix show because I don't actually have Netflix, but everyone keeps telling me that after I mentioned Marie Kondo. I'm like, oh, I want to see the show now.
Right.
Anyway, so she is basically like a tidying, like full of passion about tidying. And I was just saying, Jazz, before this, like I would think about, diving into tidying the deep corners of my closets before, and it always felt like, oh yeah, I should do that, or I ought to do that, and there was no passion to do it, so it just never happened. But reading her book, she was so excited about this process and how many like enlightening takeaways she got from tidying her home and tidying so many other homes. And so it was really inspiring. And I would say the thing that is keeping me going the most is that she promises if you do this process fully and just as quickly as you can, but fully do the process, you will never backslide. You will never go back to a cluttered home or just a home that doesn't spark joy. And so to me, that's like the best motivation, because I know the feeling when I've really tidied up a space and I love the space, and it's like, oh, I just feel so much more peaceful when I come home.
Yeah.
But it just never lasted, and it would be so frustrating.
Right. And if I walk into a room that's all cluttered and messy, or toys everywhere, or papers everywhere, like automatically you just feel a little bit of a tension, right? But it takes so much effort to go in and clean it first. So yeah, that sounds really nice if it's already set up nicely and you walk in peaceful.
When we think about environment first and then all the habits that we get to stack on it, like the process is so much easier, because like say I'm trying to make a habit of making muffins every day, which would be a real amazing thing if I could do that habit. I've never done that. But if I walk into my kitchen and it's full of dishes, and then all the ingredients are scattered and I can't find them, and my bakeware is kind of buried in the back, like I'm never going to keep that habit. And that really was the case so many times that I was like, yeah, I'm going to start making muffins. So now this way, when the environment's set, it's already clean and clutter-free and everything is in its place, like that habit is so much easier to implement. So environment first.
Totally. Yeah. So you're saying you're funneling your energy into achieving what you want to in that room, rather than the stuff before it, tidying and figuring out where everything is. But now you walk in, it's set. The environment's ready to go.
Yeah. That's perfect. Funneling my energy. Like I would think back now when I come home and it would be like 5 different tasks are calling for my attention at once. Like, oh yeah, the dishes didn't get done. Oh, the laundry needs switching. Oh, the boys need help with this. Oh, that area is a mess. Oh, I have, and then it's like, wait, what was I supposed to do? Oh yeah, I was supposed to come home and do my stretching, or whatever the example might be. Well, that habit just goes and that energy is not focused there, and I end up just feeling scattered. So yeah, setting the environment for success and then building the habits on it. That would be the start.
So sort of sidetrack a bit. We've read biographies of very successful people, and they've kind of thought through this process, right? And we've talked, I think you and I were talking another day about decision fatigue. Have you heard of some people who've done that? And because they have so many decisions in a day, and all those extra little things, they get in the way when they have like huge decisions, like Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, those guys, right? How do they deal with that?
Yeah, the example that I heard of it was Barack Obama, where it's like, okay, the nation, when he was in office, the nation's kind of depending on his decisions. So he just said, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about making the decision of what I'm wearing. I wear a suit every day. I wear the same suit every single day, and it's one less decision. And so like, how many, I mean, not saying we have to wear the same thing every day, but setting up your environment where you know that every single thing has a place and you've chosen that place. So then it's a place that's doable to put it back in its home. Like to me, trying to decide where to put something, where to just move it out of my way for now, just move it out of my way for now. And that constant shuffling, totally exhausted my decision fatigue.
Totally. I would love to keep picking out my own clothes. Like that's important to me. I would not want to wear the same black shirt every day like Steve Jobs did or whatever. But I think food would be an amazing thing if someone just told me, eat this, or even just make this. That's fine. I don't mind making it, but thinking about what do I make for dinner again tonight that everyone's going to be happy about? That would take a lot of stress away. Like, it's probably why those meal prep delivery services are just so successful right now, because people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I'm not there 100% for having nutrition, like everything fully chosen ahead of time, but we've finally organized, because my husband works late at night, but he's on holidays right now. So his breakfast is our lunch. And he has adopted what I want to eat, which is wonderful. So we have eggs and broccoli every day for our noon meal, whatever meal that is for him and whatever meal it is for me. And just knowing that meal is set helps so much more. Like dinner, we don't know always, but at least we got one.
Yeah, no, that does help a lot. Yeah. So if you're joining us on the comments right now, just at the beginning, we asked if you're trying to set up, or maybe you're just starting kind of to set up a new habit, we would love to take what you're doing. So just drop it in the comments, and then Steph will, as she's going through the process, she could use that as an example, and that would be really helpful for this discussion. So we just welcome you at any time just to drop a comment and let us know where you're at with that. Or if you have heard of any of these strategies before, we'd love to hear your insight as well. So Steph, why don't you, I've sidetracked you a little bit, but why don't you get into the overall method of what you've been going through?
Okay. So her method is a bit extreme, and it may sound a little bit overwhelming, but again, remember that promise. If you do it once, you will only have to do it once, or if you do it fully, you'll only have to do it once in your life. And just as a caveat, you do not have to KonMari your home in order to start healthy habits. But if you're able to, like, just in the process that I've gone through so far, there's been so many benefits, and I anticipate it making my life a whole lot easier afterwards. Right now, I'd say I'm maybe 80% there. I'm really getting close, which is exciting. So this is her process. Number one is that you discard before you store. Okay. And this is key. Like, I used to, okay, I gotta organize all these things and make them look better, which meant stuffing them more into storage and then never knowing what I owned. So number one is discard, and then number two is storing or organizing. And then number two is you do it by category. So you will take an entire category from all over your room, or all over your house, from different rooms, put it in a pile on the floor so that you can see everything in that category. And then the point of the process is to choose what objects you want to have in your home as opposed to what you want to get rid of. And I am more like geared towards minimalism. Like, I just get rid of it, which is amazing how much extra stuff was still in my house. But this switch of idea of what do you love is what you keep, and you're choosing what you keep, then it kind of like, it switches the mindset to like, oh, I want to own this object. This brings me joy. I want to treat it better. And I don't feel this lack as much then. Like, when we're thinking about discarding, then it's easy to be like, oh, but if I just had this thing, that would make life easier.
Right.
As opposed to now it's like, oh, but I do have this that I've chosen. So anyway, you put in a category, you put it on the ground, you pick it up one at a time, and you choose, does this bring me joy? Do I want this in my home? Yes or no, put in the discard. And then there's a certain order to do the categories in. And the reason for this is it's to hone that decision-making skill of knowing what things are truly valuable and truly bring you joy, versus a lot of other excuses we tell ourselves. And this I came face to face with so many times. So the order that she says to do it in is clothes first. So meaning you're going to put all your shoes, your coats, your shirts, your pants, everything in one big pile, and actually see how many clothes you have on season and off season.
And how long does that take?
I was done my clothes in less than a day. Like, you do want to set aside at least a couple hours, because that's not something that to walk away from. Like, it's going to be a big mess. You got to take 2 steps back to be able to step forward.
I think I'd be a few days.
You probably have more clothes than I do. Yeah. So anyway, clothes first. Second is books. Third is papers. Fourth is miscellaneous, but within miscellaneous, you still go by category. So it might be all of kitchen or all of Christmas, all of sports, all of toiletries, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then finally is sentimental, mementos, pictures. And that's the hardest category because
you can never get that
yeah.
back. You can't
Say
buy
that
them
back. Can't buy them back. Yeah.
Yeah, that is tough.
Yeah. So some of the excuses or justifications that often come up, at least in my mind and other people's, according to the book, is like, oh, but I might use it one day. This could be valuable someday. And how many things I realized they were taking rent space in my home because they might become valuable someday. And when I thought of it that way, like I literally pulled out boxes or items that we've had for a decade. Like, yeah, my oldest son is almost 10 years old. So we've been on the island for a decade, which is crazy. And that someday has not come. And, you know, I could have enjoyed my space and felt so much more peace and all that sort of thing, but I'm holding on to the possibilities, or to the things where it's like, that brought me a lot of joy and had a purpose. It was a great part of my past, but it served its purpose. And the sentiment is not the object doesn't hold the sentiment. The sentiment stays with me. So there was some mourning, there was some joy, it was like actually a really eye-opening process. It was very interesting.
Wow. I would find this process so hard. So if you guys are watching, I have not gone through this and I'm very nervous too. Like I think ahead and I'm like, I will use that at some point. I am that person. Like with clothes, because a lot of my friends, we always do really funny dress up parties or themed parties. And it's like, oh, that weird belt or hat or whatever, it could be used at some point. I just don't know when. And I don't want to get rid of it. Or books, like, oh, we have so many good books. And even if I've read it, I want to save it for someone that could use it, you know, as a resource or I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to find this process to be a little hard. But so convince me, like, what are the benefits of going through such a difficult process of clearing out your house and getting ready to, how am I going to achieve my goals better because of this? Put you on the spot.
So many of those things that you might use someday are taking up your storage space. So you don't think about them. They're buried away.
Right.
So you think, well, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to deal with it, which is kind of like things that are in our heart that we just kind of go, I don't have to deal with it. But what I noticed is when I cleaned out right to the back of every closet, then I found the things that I truly enjoy that I couldn't find some of the time, or that just their joy didn't stand out because they were just kind of covered over with other objects. Now my closet spaces are actually, everything's visible and everything's not squished in and hidden, but everywhere I look are things that I am so glad they're there. And it does bring me joy. Even when I pull my drawer open, she has a very specific folding method. You can look on YouTube, but it's like book spines, like everything is folded upright. So I can see absolutely everything. And I can pick my favorite clothes to wear all the time. I don't have to go like, I don't know what's buried. Okay, I'll just wear this. And so those items where I would just wear it anyway, or I just use it because whatever, it's there. Now they're gone and it's only the ones I really want. It's such a freeing feeling, actually.
Okay. And do you find you're wearing the same clothes more, but you're very, joyful in them? But it just kind of takes that decision making away of, I haven't worn this for a while. Maybe I should just wear it because I haven't worn it for a while.
I know you and I differ there so much. Like I'm comfortable eating the same food all the time and wearing the same clothes all the time. So
growing up.
I'm joyful to wear them. Whereas you will probably enjoy having more things and you'll just arrange your space differently. So I would be very curious if you do your clothes. You'll have to report back to us.
I just need more shelves. That's what I always like, Alex, we need more shelves. Let's stack it.
We said that all the time. Like, this house has no storage space. That's our problem. When we did the kitchen, it blew my mind how many things I've just constantly tried to look around because they just took up space, and I didn't even register. I don't use that. And now like our storage space is perfectly adequate for what we have. It was just buried.
Dawn Marie actually mentioned that yesterday. I was chatting with her, and she lives in a tiny house, and so they always have to do this process. And she said the same thing. The kitchen gadgets they kept in a tote bin outside, and she went through it, and she's like, "I don't use this stuff. It could go," because she doesn't. Just to pause, Rochelle left a comment that she just recently went through a similar process, downsizing when she moved. And she can't believe how much stuff she'd been holding on to. She'd like to go through everything again because she's already started to accumulate things, and how easy it is to just keep adding to it even after you've gone through the process.
Yeah, I'm curious how that will go because I mean, she talks about it having a mindset shift after you've gone through this. When you're choosing what you love, then like when I made a list of everything I want to buy this year so that another goal for another podcast about not spending too much. But when I go to select those items, I used to only look for the cheapest thing, but now that's off my criteria completely. I want the perfect thing that's going to last a lifetime, because how many things I had to recycle and just the waste, it's overwhelming to me. Like, I don't want anything to go to waste. I want to get quality now.
So curious, gifts, Christmas, birthdays, like, are you guys kind of no gifts now, or do you do more experience gifts, or like, has this really affected those holidays?
Well, I mean, I just started 5 weeks ago, but this past Christmas we did do a no gift Christmas, and it was our first time, and there was a lot that we really enjoyed about it. We'll probably go back to some gifts. I mean, it's fun to give gifts to the boys, so no hard and fast rules on that part. We'll see. A habit yet to be formed.
Yeah, with kids, it's a little different because they sometimes enjoy the gift part, and they're not at that place where we are yet with being just satisfied with what they have to be in. But
new development, they need new things. That's fine.
Just yeah. Okay. Is there anything more you want to talk about the process before we really apply it to one specific habit or two specific habits?
That's like, just to reiterate again, like this is not a mandatory thing. I've just found like a lot of benefit from it. So if you are home with more time, like, you do need a good chunk of time for each category. But then if you're okay living in a little bit of limbo, it can spread out as long as you have the next chunk of time for the next category. In the book, she says the average is 6 months to complete this completely. Whereas that's why I'm really grateful about this sheltering in place for the past bit. I feel like I can be done in 6 weeks. We're about 1 week away from that. So just depends how much time you can devote to it. I mean, Jazz is home with a toddler and baby. Her time is taken up a bit more than mine is right now.
And there's clutter everywhere. Just cleaning up the toys from the day. That's but so good. Well, like once our baby grows out of a certain category of toys, I will ship that out. And anytime one of my friends has a baby, it's like, I got stuff for you. You don't, we're sifting through. So that part is nice, at least as they grow out of things. So that's helpful.
And then once they're playing with the same toys, it's like, yes, we've arrived.
Yeah, and they are starting to. It's actually quite fun. Okay, so why don't we shift and let's get really practical with, we're a fitness company. So every habit is so important. And last week we wanted to open it up to all dreams, all goals, and that process could work for anything. But let's just really narrow it down today. And how do we set up our environment for success? Let's talk first about nutrition. So I guess our kitchen, our cupboards, our fridge, and creating an exercise habit. So not just how to exercise well, but to do it consistently. I think a lot of our audience have said that's the hard part, is the motivation, and that runs out. So how do we set up a habit consistently? So let's create an environment that creates success for those two things.
Yes, totally. So I love that you mentioned motivation there, because it used to be kind of the, motivational speaker would talk so much about, well, you just got to have determination and motivation and just do it and get out there. And I mean, anecdotally and what the studies say, like motivation is going to go away. Like you cannot rely on motivation to keep your habit going. But when you get the idea, you start a habit, like you're excited, motivation is at its highest point. That's when we want to capitalize on setting up the environment. So your environmental factors are going to be the biggest determination whether your habit will succeed or not. And this is for making a habit or breaking a habit. Both apply. You want to set up your environment for that.
Right.
So nutrition, let's say like you want to eat less sugar and you want to eat more vegetables. So in these habits, what do you see? What is easy? What do you smell? What external factors or what feelings are the external factors giving you? So looking at your kitchen, we know that if you're at home cooking your meals, you're going to eat healthier than if you get takeout, than if you go to a restaurant, than if you get fast food, than if you get prepackaged food. Like that's something I'm pretty sure we can all agree on, that home cooked meals are going to be the healthiest. So if you're going to cook meals at home, you need a clean workspace. You need to have the right tools at hand. You need to have knives and cutting boards and bowls and spoons and pots and pans. You need to have the equipment, and it needs to be clean and easy to reach. With your fridge needs to be organized. If you can't find the vegetables because they're in a plastic bag buried in the back of the fridge, then you're probably not going to get your vegetables out. Like make it as easy as possible. So I put up a post a little while ago about the smart fridge. And I love this idea because it's not a rigid, you must eat this much stuff. It's just setting up your fridge and you're naturally going to want to eat better. So what it means is when you get all your bags of vegetables from the grocery store and you bring them home, lay them out, have all your Tupperwares ready to go, chop, 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 put in the Tupperware, stack your Tupperwares in your fridge. Now it's so easy to grab carrot sticks that are already chopped. It's so easy to grab peppers and hummus, so easy to grab some snap peas and whatever dip of choice.
For someone who's never done that, how much time does that take you? Do you do it once a week? And how long does it take you?
You know, it really does not take very long at all. Often, to be honest, grocery day, when the groceries get home, it's usually later at night and I'm tired by then. So it doesn't even happen right away, but it's still an easy habit to keep implementing, because as soon as I'm going to pull out the cucumber, I'm going to chop the entire cucumber and put it into the Tupperware. Or even like if it's like I put chicken in the oven, I have to wait 45 minutes until I can eat it anyway. So it's a perfect time to just get all the chopping done. Like really, the vegetables that we have for a family of 4, 10 minutes maybe. Like once everything's out there, to chop it takes no time at all. If you're like chopping one thing at a time 3 times a day every single day, like it's a really big task. And now when like my husband does more of the cooking, which is wonderful, I'd be the sous chef, but now I'm like, well, my job's done. There you go. It's all in the Tupperware.
So you're chopping enough for like vegetables every day for a week, like salads and stir fries and all that stuff that you need?
Yeah, we pretty much eat through it in a week. I mean, some things like carrot sticks, if you put the carrot sticks, put a lid on the Tupperware and then fill it with water, they actually last quite a long time. So they'll probably last 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's great.
My one son said,
so this is great to hear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my older son said, "Oh, I love carrot sticks when they're in water. I guess they're just fresher." I don't know.
Great.
But then other vegetables put paper towel inside the Tupperware, like cucumber, peppers. You don't want to have moisture, and then they'll last longer.
Yeah.
And lettuce, spinach, like I'll wash it and then chop it all right away and put it with the paper towel in the Tupperware with the lid.
Wow.
And if like I went to Costco and got like a stack like this of Tupperwares that food service companies would use, so they can be frozen, they can be microwaved, whatever.
Oh, great. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
Costco also has the glass ones with like I think the plastic lids, but like personally I love glass, and they have a really good deal for that too. So that's awesome. And they stack nice, which is really great.
yeah, that's what you want. So then I would organize the fridge. I'd put all the veggies on top so they're quick and easy, the first thing that I see, and then kind of
Mm,
middle would be like the egg and cheese and sausage if we have any, and then down below is more space, so that would be like leftovers from the night before, or like tortillas or yogurt, that kind of thing. And then the boys kind of know, okay, if I want a snack, I gotta work my way down, so I gotta have a vegetable first, and then I can have some cheese, and then I can have yogurt or whatever.
that's wow. Yeah, that's great for parents to hear that you're teaching your kids that and kind of have a system. That's pretty smart. That's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, so the smart fridge is huge for environment.
Hmm.
And then, I mean, home cooked meals, but it also depends what's in the house. Like, do you have the snacks in the house, and where are they located? So, obviously, the easiest thing is to not have them in the house. If you really
Mhm.
want chocolate before bed and you have to drive to the corner store and buy the chocolate and come home, like, if you're willing to do that much work, okay, have your chocolate. But
Yeah,
mostly, if it's that hard to do, it will be a lot easier to break that habit. Uh,
totally.
yeah. And then, I mean, if you have kids and you happen to have kids snacks in the house and whatever, that kind of thing, just if you, at least it's organized so that they're the things that are hidden at the back. So they're not right in your face. Like if cookies are sitting out on the counter, like your motivation's going to be taking a hit, right? Like if it's right in your face, yeah, you're asking to give in.
So you're making it as easy as possible to succeed. So you know
Totally.
yourself and what your temptations are. So if you don't want to eat that, don't have it in the house, and especially not on the counter. And
Mm-hmm.
do the 10 minutes or whatever of chopping up and prepping healthy snacks and having it ready for stir fries and whatever, so that you're setting yourself up for success. Pretty simple, but it makes a
Mm-hmm.
huge difference. Huge.
Yeah. Do it when you're motivated, because then you'll do all of this and it will serve you well after. So, yeah, make it as easy as possible to choose the healthy option, as hard as possible to choose the unhealthy, and
Right.
then make it fun. So, for me, that was having hummus sitting right on the door,
Mm.
because it was something I just never thought to buy before. It was kind of a special treat if I went somewhere. And then I thought, I want to eat more raw veggies, and I'd be a lot more motivated to eat them if the hummus was right there. So then literally I just grab both things, the hummus and the peppers, carrot sticks, put
Yeah.
them on the counter. So while I'm making breakfast or while I'm making lunch for the boys, I'm snacking because I'm already hungry on my veggies and hummus, which I like.
My babies have always loved hummus. And like
Ah,
they love, like, it's such a strong taste too. And
yeah.
both of them from like babies have just loved it. So, and actually, like, we buy a lot of hummus because they love it. But it's super easy to make too. I've been doing that recently, and it's
Nice.
like you just throw a bunch in the blender, and it with the chickpeas, and you don't even have to do like tahini or whatever. Just do lemon juice and
Oh,
olive oil, and it's great. It's so fresh and so good.
okay. That's what stopped me from the habit. I've been wanting to do it, but we couldn't find tahini, or it just seemed too difficult to
Don't
get.
need
So
it. I mean,
good to
it's
know.
nice, but you don't have to. Yeah, there's some simple recipes online too. Just throw whatever you've got in it, and it's a great snack, and it tastes even better than the store bought stuff. Yeah, really
Nice.
nice and fresh.
Really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the
So,
comments, oh, sorry. In the comments, if you have other tips, because these are simple but very actionable tips just to clean out your kitchen and maybe Marie Kondo your fridge. Take it out. Do you love this mayonnaise? Does it bring you joy? Is it going to be good for your body? Check it. If not, I don't.
yeah.
Whatever it is, and apply what Steph was talking about earlier to your fridge and your cupboard. And like, there's probably stuff stuck in the back of the cupboard, like Oreo cookie crumbs that maybe you made for a cake when a long time ago. Just pull that out and chuck it, especially if the expiry date's gone. But if you're not going to use it, or if it's not very good for your body, do this. But in the comments, if you have other tips, we would love to hear that as well. So please share that even as we go on to the next topic.
Mm-hmm. I think I lost my thought, so go ahead. We can move on to the next topic.
Okay, so why don't we start with so fitness. How do we make it consistent? That is a habit that a lot of people find difficult. The motivation is high in certain times of the year, especially, or they get excited about a program. But how do you make it so, like we were talking about, you make the environment easy? You can't, nothing is holding them back. Simple things, actionable things are not the reason that they're like, I'm not going to do it today. An excuse came up. So how can we be intentional about setting our environment up for success for regular, consistent exercise?
Yeah. Like this part I feel strongly for myself, and see if you resonate, is finding the fitness that you love, that brings you joy. Because if your motivation is high, but the actual activity you actually dread every single time, I think it'll be a lot harder to set up your environment for it. So, whether it's sports, whether it's running, whether it's functional fitness, whether it's swimming, like find the thing that you really do want to do. Your motivation still might be hard some days to get up and actually do it, but it is an activity that once you're doing it, you enjoy it, or at least once you're done it, you enjoy the feelings after you're done it. And I think so that's key. And then you need to make an appointment to do it, and put that buy-in right up front. So it could be that you've signed up for the race, you've put money on the line, or that you've called a friend. Like the people around you are part of your environment as well. So if your circle of friends are completely opposite to your healthy goals, it's going to be a lot harder. You need to find some friends who are on board with a healthy habit. So if you've got a partner and you've set an appointment and you're going to meet each other there, I've had this so many times with friends where it's like, I wasn't going to show up, but I knew that I had to because you were going to be there, and they were saying the same thing. Well, now you're both there, and once you're doing it, you're enjoying it. So you've done the work ahead of time.
That happened to me exactly last night. I've been quite tired lately, and yesterday was just definitely one of the days that I was not going to work out. I was so tired, but mostly because I'm the fitness trainer, I have to be there. So Steph and I have online virtual classes, which we'd love for you to join if you are looking for a group. And my class is at 7:30, and I needed to be there, right? I have that accountability, that time. And then once we started going, it felt so good at the end. I was still tired and I went to bed early, but I just felt so good. But I don't think I would have done it on my own accord had I not had that appointment and the accountability of the group members. And they're awesome. They're encouraging and motivating. But yeah, it's so powerful.
Makes all a difference for sure. And then it's also, if you're set up for it literally in your space with your equipment. If you're doing an at-home workout and you have to constantly be moving furniture in order to do your workout, it's gonna one day be enough of an excuse that you won't actually do your workout. So organize your space, whether it's in a facility or at home or outside, but make sure you have a dedicated space to do it. So I don't know if you can see behind me, I got some black mats here. So I've kind of set up a bit of a home gym for during sheltering in place when I can't be at the gym that I bought into because I wanted that space. We kind of went extreme. We've got a little bit of home gym, and then the other half of the room is all my husband's music gear because that's his passion. We want to have a space for that. So choosing your passions, choosing your space, and then the equipment. Like so many people, they're okay, I've got this new running habit, and they're running in 2-year-old shoes, and then they get shin splints or knee injury, and then they just fall off the rails. We want to avoid injury, so you want to have good footwear for sure, and good safe equipment. I don't know if you've seen some of those fails during sheltering in place of people doing fitness with whatever objects they could find in the house.
Oh,
Don't
oh no, I haven't. And that's funny because sometimes we're like, okay, if you grab a bag of flour or if you don't have that, but true. Yeah, you got to be careful as well.
Yeah, I mean, grab a bag of flour, sure. Just don't like bench press on a plastic picnic table chair kind of thing.
It's a
Anyway,
lot. Okay, so
yeah.
you have, I mean, you've set up mats, which is really cool. That's kind of above and beyond, but at least just getting the coffee table out of the way. And then do you have your equipment kind of lined up there, or is it in a closet that you have to go into? What do you
Yeah,
find
it's right there. So
right
it's you wake up, walk out, there it is, start
there?
workout.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be lining up your shoes by the door the night before. It might, if you're drinking a protein shake, it's already ready to go. Like whatever it is that's your routine and it's already set up, especially if you're working out in the morning, set up the night before. So there's just no excuse. You know it's going to be easy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
keep your routine.
Yeah, one of our members mentioned that a while ago that she always puts her shoes like where she's going to work out so that it's like right there. And it's also a trigger for her when she sees it in the morning. It's like, oh, right, I got to work out. I see my shoes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for working out, but if I have to, well, I don't take the garbage out, thankfully, but my husband takes the garbage out, but I will put a note on the door before he used to go to work because he works from home now. I'm sidetracking, but I will put things at the door so that we will not be able to walk by it without seeing it to trigger it. Apply that for fitness as well. Right at your bedroom door, put a kettlebell or whatever you need to see to remind yourself, oh yeah, before I do anything, I got to work out.
Yeah. And the same thing can apply if you're commuting and you go to a facility. Like if your path from work to home, you go by the facility, then you're more likely to do it. If you are in the habit of going the other way and you have to go out of your way the few times you do, then you probably won't do it. Same thing, like if a fast food restaurant is your trigger for eating poorly and you drive by it every day, like you're just asking to give in to that. So again, choose your routes with what you see on the way. That's part of your environment too.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true. Avoiding the bad triggers is just as important. Yeah. That's good. Okay. We've talked about setting up your environment, doing something that you love for exercise, and a bit about accountability. We can maybe touch on that a little bit more. Like if you are trying to do a program on your own, Steph and I have both had experiences with that growing up. And, the motivation might be high at the beginning, but at some point the motivation runs out because you're tired. And like, how do we keep on track with being consistent with a program?
Yeah. Really like making an appointment and having people know that you're supposed to show up, making it public, or at least make it known to your accountability group or partner.
Right.
Like I had the same experience that you were mentioning. Like when I go to my gym, I'm super motivated. I love being there, so I just go all the time. But then during like sheltering in place, it was kind of like refreshing for me to be able to relate a bit more. Where there were many days where I did not feel like getting up and exercising, but same thing. I had a Zoom appointment. I'm going to be working out, so I would. And without those appointments, it would have been very easy to just go later. Yeah, I'm already doing this, whatever. So while you have the motivation, set up the environment, set up the schedule, set up the accountability, and then those things are your safety rails.
Totally. Okay. Well, any last comments from you, Steph? Otherwise, we will be, I think, wrapping it up until next week.
Yeah. So next week, we're going to dive more into habits. So there's still a lot more in the setup process that we can touch on, but environment being step one.
Absolutely. Okay, so we would still love to hear comments if you're watching this at a later time, whether on this is Facebook Live and it'll get uploaded to YouTube as well. Please comment away and we will be checking back and responding, and your comment will probably help someone else because everyone's got great tips on how they stay healthy and how they stay consistent with their goals. And such an important thing to do. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back next Tuesday again. And like Steph said, we'll dive in even deeper into how to actually build a habit, or some of us have habits that are not healthy. We'll also touch on how to break the bad habits. So building the good ones and breaking the unhealthy ones. All right. Take care for now and have a great week.
Thank you.